They have closed the schools also. I heard that. Some places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been kind of a little bad generally. So, yeah.
Mm. Do you stay in Dallas? Which state are you in?
I'm in New Jersey, Padma.
Acha, yes.
Hi guys, welcome to the Fatal Brains, my book. Today we'll be discussing.
Who was just now saying hi?
Hi, my dear friends. This is Prasanna from Fatal Brains, and welcome to the Fatal Brains, a place where poets share their minds and thoughts. Today we'll be discussing about my book, and but it's speaking out 5 Voices. A book written by small young kids. They poured out their dreams. A team within a dream. That's what the line I like most. Uh, Today, this will be hosted by Miss Sneha Goel and Miss Dr. Gargi Saha. We have along with us Dr. Roopali Sircar, who will be who will be acting as a chairperson of this session, and we got experts who will be, sharing their view on this book, speaking out uh, 5 Voices. Miss Setaluri Padmavathi, Miss Narinderjit Kaur is supposed to join, but then she couldn't, make it today. But we have a special guest, Miss Rupa Rao and Mr. Srinivas Sambangi.
Kumar, will we have the names of all the
And
participants or
also
whoever's logged in clearly on the screen,
yes, ma'am.
especially the children?
We have the beautiful kids who have now written this book, and their name is Lakshita Jain, Lakshita Mundra,
Sneha, do you know if all the
Nandini
children's names will be
Pahael
visible on the
Goel.
screen for others to see all the time?
So I would
I know.
now
Am
like
I
to
not audible?
No,
now
no,
like to
you're
bring-
audible.
I think you all are muted. Sneha, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Sneha, I don't hear you. Why is that? Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, great. Sneha, will the names of the children... Hi, Prasanna. Hi, Roopali. Hi,
No, ma'am,
Lakshita. I see you.
Clear.
Hi, Rupali ma'am.
Was I not
Kumar, will
audible?
all the bachas' names will be clear on the screen so that everybody can see at all times?
Yeah, of course, ma'am. Ma'am, let me make myself clear. Was I not audible? Till now? I mean, like, were you able to hear my voice?
No. No. Now I hear you, but no, I did not hear you.
I introduced this program and I talked about the book and talked
I didn't hear a word.
Padma ma'am, what about you?
Yeah, I could hear. I could hear you.
Can you
Oh,
hear
then
me?
it's me.
Yes, I can hear you all.
Oh,
Can you hear me, Sneha?
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
okay, let's begin the show then. It's pretty much odd.
What about Rupa?
Sneha ma'am and
Are you
Gargi.
able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Roopali, I hear you. Rupa here,
Okay.
I hear you.
Ma'am, we are live, so I think I would request you all to mute yourself so that you know. Yeah, Sneha ma'am and Gargi ma'am, take over the show, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's a proud privilege for me to be a part of this show today. And a huge round of applause to all the young writers who have brought out such a brilliant book, and also to Sneha ma'am for guiding them relentlessly. Over to you, Sneha ma'am. Please speak a few words.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank prolific Mr. Prasanna Kumar for considering our book for a formal book launch on the prestigious and glorious platform of the Fertile Brains. I extend my gratitude to all the veteran writers, Dr. Roopali Sircar Gaur, Miss Narinderjit Kaur, Miss Setaluri Padmavathi, Miss Rupa Rao, and Miss Gargi Saha for sparing time to attend this book launch and making it a successful and special one. So I would like to read my editor's note from the book. So the journey of bringing together 5 young creative writers and teaching them how to write poems, it has been an overwhelming one. The first question was topics on which the poems have to be written. So we took cue from the classic poems, and the topics were broadly divided into 10 main categories, and each of them were asked to write at least one poem in each category. And after that, we took the topics of their choice in the anthology. Now, another challenge was to get them to write like all at one time. It was a challenge. So, and even if I asked them to write in my classroom, that was also a big challenge because that was not their creative perk. So instead, I gave them the liberty to write the poems at their creative perk hours and submit me for revision. After reading their poems, I realized, a lot has to be done as citizens and society for the women and girls of this country and the world. Now, Lakshita Mundra, she is an emotional girl who rarely opens up, and she pens her emotions into poems and stories. Her opening poem, Eating My Emotions, hits the reader straight in their heart. The honesty with which she portrays not only her positive but negative emotions too makes her poems connect with the readers instantly. The rebel in the young Shanaya Gupta shines in her first poem itself, where she questions how society treats girls. Her couplet, Truth of Human Beings, makes reader wonder how experienced this girl must be to write such deep, dark lines. She opens up about what a 13-year-old goes through. Her poems give a glimpse into the battles these girls fight every day, which we as society have overlooked. Pahael Goel is a mature writer. The ease and flair with which she writes on various subjects is an inspiration for me as well. She talks about why and how women are neglected in this world. Her sweet, heartfelt composition of Heartbroken and My Mother brought tears in my eyes. Her haiku on autumn is like fresh breath of air. Her poem on discrimination against skin color and gender tells us how this young eye sees the ugliness prevalent in the society. Nandini Agarwala, a seemingly carefree girl, takes note of every person and instance entering her life. Her truly amusing and bizarre choice of subjects makes her poem extraordinary. She has compared friends with clouds. She has written on a girl named Asia. She has questioned the society why it treats girls unfairly. She has given colors to emotions. She talks about struggles of poor, and she also talks about starry night and moon. Such diverse is her choice of subjects. Lakshita Jain, she has certain grit and determination in her conduct that I have always admired. Her play with words is what hooks a reader. She has touched upon simple subjects like her parents to complex subjects like feminism and pollution. Her poems are rich in literary aspect with vivid imagery and various figures of speech. The innocence of childhood is evident in these poems. These children are urging us to stop polluting, cutting trees, and treating them as objects. These poems are pleas to their elders to stop the atrocities against them and Mother Earth and make our planet and home beautiful place to live. I wish these poets a bright future and powerful writings. Over to you, Gargi ma'am.
I felt this collection of poems of 5 young writer poets is truly amazing. How could they then pen poems on so varied subjects, meaningfully indeed, praiseworthy? Each poet is different from the other, yet so significant, mature, and vibrant. Their imagination soars to heights of fancy, yet being so down to earth. For example, Lakshita Jain voices her emotions being close to her dad, wherein she says, "Isn't it wonderful to have such a person in your life? He is my father, the best gift of my whole life." Such a wonderful tribute to her father at such a young age speaks volumes of her gratefulness, generosity, and diligence towards her dad. There are familial poems also penned by her, namely Father, a True Blessing, Threads of Love, where she enjoys sisterhood amidst quarrels and fights, and loses the company of her sister. Why society? She rebels her voice against society, condemning her to be a girl and not a boy. This has moved her strongly, to put it down assertively. Then we have Pahael Goel, a sensitive, emotional girl, writing short poems, though they mean a lot. In her poem Insecurities, she asserts how housewives are ruled by men. There's masochism and women being considered a subordinate, crystal clearly reflected in her poems. She's a positive girl and believes in optimism. In her poem Happiness, she says, having a bad day? Do cheer up. Positively will definitely relax your mind. She has penned poems on emotions like anger, and she believes everyone is equal. Humans should not be discriminated on the basis of racism, sexism, and should be stopped soon. She has a wonderful tribute to her mother. In her poem, My Mother, she says, she's the one who loves me like no other. A poet, a writer, but firstly, she is my mother. She has a deep emotional bonding with her mother. Next, we have Lakshita Mundra, where she dissimulates her emotions when she says, eating my emotions. Everyone thinks the smile I wear is good, not bad. Only if they knew my true intentions, that I'm actually eating my emotions. You know, she's trying to not show it right on the face. She tries to eat it up. She also pays tribute to her parents, namely in her two short poems for her mom and dad. Next, we have Shanaya Gupta, who voices poems on grave aspects of life, like a poem, Truth of Death, in which she asserts death is something from which you can't run away. Death is something you can't discard. But at such a young age, she is also ready to accept death happily. I'm not afraid to die, because it will come one day. She also pens poems on taboo subjects like menstruation, which are hardly put on paper. But she bravely asserts, just think, women bleed every month, and without any questions, they bear. In the poem Menstruation, which displays her fearless attitude and her determination to reach the pinnacle. She visits unknown places alone in a poem, The Unknown Dream, where she paints nature vividly. There's nature's description beautifully in poems line The Garden Filled with Flavors and the Cloud. Last but not the least, Nandini Agarwala, the poet in this anthology, is a feminist with a different perspective. In her poem, Why Only Girls? She questions female subordinate to male. Why should women be in the kitchen and not do any kind of work and treat them as humans first? She rightly points out the electronics is bad for humans. In the poem, Electronics and Mind's Health, thinking is increasing, results are decreasing. Electronics should be banned, even though we can't live without them. Nature imagery beautifully depicted in poems like Starry Night and Moon. She ends a poem by giving a beautiful tribute to her mother. A wonderful book penned by 5 young writers, and all credit goes to Miss Sneha Goel for guiding them in such a valuable endeavor. Thank you, ma'am. Over to Sneha, ma'am.
Padma ma'am, you have written words of appreciation for this poem. I would like to hear from you.
Yeah. First of all, I congratulate all the young writers, young minds, who I love so much. I love all of you very much. And when I talk about your way of writing and your style of writing, the way you selected the topics, everything was amazing. I congratulate every one of you for selecting very good topics and penning down your thoughts. And I also congratulate my friend, dear Sneha, for motivating them and giving them some techniques to write. As a teacher, I know how much you have guided them and how you inspired them. I could feel, when I read this thing. Actually, when I talk about their thoughts are beyond limits. And their limit is only the sky. That is what I feel. The way they wrote, the way they expressed their feelings through every poem, It was a very precise, the thoughts were so precise and expression was very good. And what I feel that, their ability to think is something very, commendable. That's what I feel. And when I talk about their different topics, like you take a gender bias, maybe some societal issues, equality, why not, one poem, one child wrote about the, like, I think, is it Pahael or somebody wrote about gender bias, the why girl is lesser than boy and why you are greater than me. She started, questioning the other gender, why there is no equality. So these questions really, make the reader think a lot about the writer. And how come this child, a 13-year-old girl, thinking beyond the limits and expressing her ideas? She can, a writer, among all of you, I could say that, about every writer, I want to say that everybody is able to express feelings very well, question, the other person, all of you are able to make the readers think a lot. Your poems were, thought-provoking, very, commendable writings, I would say. And one more thing, when I talk about different topics, you try to write even about nature and relationships, human connection with nature, how beautiful it is. Every poet loves to write something about nature, and the writer tries to connect the human mentality or human emotions with the nature. That, I think, one or two children wrote that. I loved that way of writing. Can I talk about every child or little bit later? What do you say, Sneha? Actually, I wanted to talk about each child little bit. If you give me
Then
time.
we can talk about them later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sneha.
Now, Rupali ma'am, you were the first one I approached when these kids came up with the poems, and I thought of turning it into a book. And I asked you to write a foreword for it. And at that time, things were not good at your side. I know that, but still, you managed to write that foreword for this book. So I'd like to know your views, like what you were thinking when you read these poems and you wrote the foreword. So, what are your views on these children, how they are, and how they have come, made? Is this worth what they have done? Is it worth the book? Are the poems good? How are these kids?
Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me here and for organizing this, Prasanna. It was very important, that we first launched their books. I have a few books that have come out, and Rupa's books are coming out, and all of our books are coming out. They're not important. What's important is their voice, the voice of, and I don't look at them as young. When you're 13 and you're 12, that is when you speak up. I have become a silent, frightened person. I don't write about the things that one should. But I was like them when I was 13. So I'm not going to be condescending and say that, how did these young people write? If you go back, many of us who are here today, we were writing when we were young. We started writing when we were young, because when you're young, you have the courage to write. And therefore, I welcome all of you young people here today, because you are our voice. And thank you so much, Neha, for asking me to write the foreword. And I'm very sorry that I took very long, because, you should read those poems. They are poems that cover every kind of feeling, sentiment, and how we ignore the young, and we think we're very wise. And, just because we've aged, we have this wisdom that we can pass on to them. No, it is they whose wisdom is full. And, I'm very proud to say that, I didn't want the book to be called Spring or a voice, something very delicate and sweet and all. No, I wanted to be that they were speaking out. So I said, Sneha, we have to have a title which says Speaking Out. I'm sure you young girls who are here, you'll agree with it that you've spoken out. And you've spoken out on every subject under the sun. Anxiety, for example, I won't mention right now in any single person, but anxiety, menstruation, something that we never, I don't remember anybody else writing something like that, and, being relationships. One thing that runs through which I think parents must be very aware of this, is a kind of stereotyping of parents being gods and we have to live up to our parents' expectation. That runs right through. Even when they're challenging the society, they're very concerned about pleasing their parents. Yes, you must make them happy, but I think that you must stand up for what you think is right. And, your concern for the earth, your concern for women, your concern for children, your concern for every kind of emotion is there. I'm very, very proud to have read those poems, very, very privileged, I would say, to have seen and gone into your mind. And today it's your day, not ours. You must speak up, you must tell us. And if you don't, then who will? Who will speak up? You have to speak up, and you have spoken out. And there are poems that are just 2 lines. So in just 2 lines, and in those 2 lines, she said everything. And I would recommend this book as a school text. Among the school textbooks. And I think you girls have more to tell us. We will listen to you. And I think, Sneha, you should open it up to them. But before that, would you like to launch the book? Would you like to do that? So does everybody have a copy? And so thank you so much, Sneha, because there's a mentor like you. That is very, very important. We all need mentors. Prasanna is my mentor. Thank you so much, Prasanna. I wouldn't be here without you. And here's the book, and I love the cover. I just love the cover because it has something in it that, you can see the kind of thinking that is going on, so profoundly in the minds of these young people. So here is it. We launched this book this evening, very proudly, Sneha, and you 5 young poets. I don't know why we're saying young. 5 poets. You're 5 poets. So we welcome you into the community of poets.
Congratulations to all the writers.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congrats, everyone.
And keep being so brave and courageous and strong. I think you can, Sneha, ask your poets now to speak.
Rupa ma'am, you can ask the questions to the poets, then we can hear from our esteemed guests.
Thank you so much, Sneha. It is so wonderful to be a part of this absolutely amazing panel. First of all, congratulations to you, the teacher, who has brought forth these young 5 ladies who are now a part of the poet community. So congratulations, all young ladies, each one of you, Lakshita Jain, Lakshita Mundra, Nandini, Pahael, Shanaya, each one of you, I want you to know we are so proud of you. We may be ahead of you in years, in gray hair, but believe me, what you have to say means so much more to us. Because what we have spoken, But when you speak, you voice the emotions, the concerns, the thoughts, and the situations that all of you youngsters are going through right now today. And you are the one who will change the society, one word at a time, one poem at a time, be it a haiku, be it any kind of poetry that Sneha teaches you, guides you to write. And I want to say this, Sneha, to you today, that teacher is the one who will be remembered forever for what they inspired you to become when we were growing up? If you remember, those are the teachers we remember. For example, Rupali's sister, she was a teacher in the school I was in, and I still remember her. So I want you all to know, young ladies, that Sneha is that beacon of light who will be a part of your life forever, because this is the time when impressions are formed and you are finding your voice, you're finding your pen, you're finding your writing. Mark Van Doren said, "The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery." That's you, Sneha. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. William Yeats said that, Sneha. So you are lighting that fire. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill the love for learning. Brad Henry said that. And you are instilling that love for writing, for poetry, for finding the voice to articulate what bothers you, what makes you happy. So each one of you, when you write, this is what it means. And teaching is the greatest act of optimism. Colleen Wilcox said that. And you are generating, creating, lighting optimism, Sneha, when you do that with these youngsters. And teachers affect eternity. No one can tell where their influence stops. Henry Adams said that, and I insist each of these 5 youngsters who've been a part of this book and those who are touched by your inspiration, they will remember you forever. And you young students, I want to say to you, Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Dream on. You realized a dream. You have a book out in your hands, which will touch many more youngsters and their parents and start a dialogue between the adults and the youngsters. So pat yourselves on the back for the work you have done. Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Education gives you the tools. When you wrote these poems, you actually implemented what you learned. So congratulations. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Believe you can, you're halfway there." And believe me, you are more than halfway there. B.B. King said, "The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you." So whatever you have learned so far, you are learning, you will continue to learn, will be yours. And when you write these pearls of experience, be it pain, be it joy, be it pathos, be it relationships, be it nature, it is talking to others and cathartic for you. Now, Albert Schweitzer said, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success." If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. So, all of you, please know you are already on the road to success. You are successful young ladies. Congratulations to you. And I want to once again say, you, Sneha, and the 5 young ladies, each one of you, Lakshita Jain, Lakshita Mundra, Nandini, Pahael, and Shanaya Gupta. Thank you for the work you've done. Thank you for the pearls of beautiful poetry. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sneha.
So now I would like to request our special guest, Srinivas sir, to say a few lines on the poets and their poetry.
Thank you, ma'am. I thoroughly enjoyed the reviews and the talks by all of you, all the poets. My hearty congratulations to the children. I always like the poems by children because their brains are fresh, rejuvenating, and they're not cluttered like ours. So I am glad to hear that one of them wrote haiku as well. That's my my field. In fact, I'm a haiku poet basically. So the subjects that they touched upon, like gender bias, poverty, the bonding between mother and daughter, they are challenging issues right now in the society. And who else can write better than the children? Because they are at the receiving end of all these problems. So I congratulate them and welcome them to Poetry Group of India and wish them all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Prasanna, you have written reflection for the book, and you are also among the one who have read it first, like I think 2 or 3 months back. So, what do you think about these poems and the poets?
It was amazing. I mean, when I got the book, I completely lost, and I found that it was sent by you. And I find when I look at the cover, uh, it is shocking for me. The cover's page itself speaks volumes. I mean, it's like a mature adult and like a mature veteran writer could have that, as a cover page. And when you get a peep into the book, you will find the five young, ladies there, like young kids have written, such a profound, the expression that on varied themes. We hardly could imagine. I mean, how bold they are, how courageous they are. Even I'm not at this age. Even I'm just trying to, put across my voice. I could not dare to come out, to express myself openly to anyone or to face such a situation. Whenever I would, I have this inner anger and everything, but then, the way they poured out themselves, with expression through the various forms of, emotions. And that truly speaks of this a team within a team, and it's not a dream, but it's a team that realize the dream, and they become a true poets. They express their, in a what a brilliant manner. I mean, it's like I could see the angst of that's built within their minds and then their hearts, and sometimes it's not only that they have faced every situation, but then getting to know about the things around and with the whatever the curricula in the studies or the watching the TVs or movies, or they get to hear the thing, not practically. Some of the things are not possible for them, but then they have the idea of what it is like. So it's very difficult when it is to put in summarize their feelings and write a review or write a forward or write a reflection or whatever it is. But when I got this thing and I just have to put it there, and I got completely lost. But thank you for making me part of this wonderful. I mean, that's such an honor for me. I couldn't imagine that I'm very much qualified to be there in the book, and I'm putting that recollection. And when I see look at the page of the book, and I felt really honored. And thank you thank you, Nandini, thank you, Lakshita, thank you, Lakshita Jain, Pahael, Shayana, for making me a part of your book. And thank you, of course. Every credit goes to the mentor and the teacher who guides the spirits, the young spirits. They guided them and nudged them to be, come out and to present their things, whatever their inner feelings are, in the form of poetry. Poetry is a very difficult form. Of course, they can put it in a story form or a short story or whatever they thing they like, but the poetry itself is very difficult when you try to articulate your the expressions. So every credit goes to our teacher. So Sneha ma'am, and thank you for guiding us children and making them very productive kind of souls, I would say. And I wish they could reach much higher and now the pinnacle of success, and take it out. Wishing for them to see their better future. Thank you for making me part of.
Thank you
Ma'am,
so
I
much.
forgot to congratulate. I forgot to congratulate Sneha, madam. So I
Thank
think she is the one who brought the talent from the young kids, and I request her to keep harnessing the talent of young brains, more and more fights, to
I'll
develop more
try.
and more fights.
I'll keep trying, sir,
So
surely. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know whether children joined this call or not. I personally want to congratulate them and wish them all the best.
They are here, sir. All five are here.
Okay. Okay.
Gargi ma'am, now you can ask the questions to the
Yeah,
poets.
sure. Is Lakshita here? Lakshita, the first question for you is why do you write poems? You have written very nicely the short poems, but they convey so much. So I would like to ask you, why do you write poems?
First of all, thank you so much everyone for coming here and giving me the opportunity to speak. And it really means a lot hearing from you guys. So, well, I've always loved to express myself through poetry. It's like a medium for me to communicate to anyone. Like, as a whole, I like to paint vivid images with my words and poems to anyone who's reading my poetry. I feel it's magical what a few words can do when if it is put together thoughtfully. And it's that magic that I strive for while writing poems. And wherever I see that magic coming to my paper, it gives me just spellbound happiness. So I guess it's just the way, the very thought of writing poetry is what excites me and forces me to write one.
And congratulations for bringing out such a brilliant book. I was really amazed to read it.
Thank you.
Okay, and wishing you all the best. I would just like to ask you another question. Which is your favorite poem in the book, and why?
Ma'am, I feel that every poem in the book has its own essence, but if I had to sorry, if I had to pick a favorite one, then I think it would be a poem that is written by me, The Tears of a Billion. I think that poem highlights the harsh reality of India behind the flying colors of diamond, diversity, unity. When the reality comes, it's true that now it's very hard to hear 1.42 billion voices together with no new war raging every now and then. This poem that I wrote was what I felt after I heard about a terrorist attack. So yeah, it's in a nutshell, I would say that this poem is of me tries to capture what any Indian would feel like during or when they would hear any such mishappening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we have with us Pahael. Are you there, Pahael? Congratulations for writing such beautiful poems and for bringing out this anthology. I would like to ask you, you have written many short stories under various reputed teachers. And how do you think of writing poems suddenly from short stories to drifting to poems? What made you write poems?
So the more I explored story writing, I discovered that poem writing had a completely different thrill of its own. I love how we are able to convey our emotions in just a few lines with poetry while also creating a deep connection with our reader.
When did you start writing poems?
So I started writing poems like when I was 10 years old, around that time.
So you wrote continuously, or that also had some gap and again you started writing?
So I got introduced to poetry writing when I was 10 years old by my mother, and after that I just continued writing poems from there.
And you would also love to continue writing poems or short stories again?
I think that it just depends on my mood, because some days I love writing poems, while others I would just like to sit down and write a story.
Okay, wishing you all the best. Thank you. Nandini? Is she there here? Okay. Nandini, can you listen to me?
Yes, ma'am.
You have touched various subjects in your poems. Where did you get your ideas from writing poems?
In this age, I suppose I'm really curious about stuff. Like, I'm really eager to know everything and anything I see. So I just, like, when I'm walking around, I see something and I want to write about it. So I note down that point and write about it. I think as I become more mature, I might be inclined to some specific topic based on my experiences, but now I am writing on very bizarre choices.
There is a rebellious tint in your poems. Are you a rebellious person?
In school, in my home, I was just studying about gender inequality. So that was the main topic wandering in my head. Even people think I'm a rebel. It is just I'm curious and a straightforward person who wants to talk about everything she thinks. So, yeah.
And what makes you question the imperfect things?
I don't know. I want to write everything and anything I see, as I told before, but uh, I want to question the society about its indifferent norms and imperfect things. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that I want to write about it.
Do you think your writings can change society?
One day I think so. After many years, maybe
You think it may change, right?
it may.
Okay, congratulations and all the best to you. Yeah? Can you listen to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what kind of emotions drive you to write poems?
Ma'am, most of my poems are driven by extreme emotions. Like when I'm feeling very sad or extremely happy, that time I write the poems at best. Um, Most of my poems are gotten from moments and memories that I have. Uh, like when I am remembering all those memories, the words just flow out. That's how I get all the emotions and I write all the poems.
If you would have to recite one poem from your book, which one would you choose?
If I had to recite one poem, that's very hard because all the poems are so beautifully written and are such filled with happiness and sorrow and different kinds of emotions. But one poem that I particularly liked was The Second Home, written by Lakshita Jain. The poem brings out all the memories that I spent in my school, all the time that I had with my friends, and all the fun and all the games that we played. The poem starts with telling us how we spend years in one place. Like I sometimes feel that it's like it's so ironic that we sometimes need to get away from things, but here we see that we have spent so much time in one place and yet we haven't yet gotten bored at all. It ends with hitting us with realization that when we leave the corridors, nothing will change except we will have all these beautiful memories with us stored in our minds. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And how many poems till now have you penned, except this collection?
I've actually lost count of how many I've written because I cannot count them. These I said sometimes like get shots like of emotions and I start writing anywhere. Like sometimes I even start writing in my hand and then have to go and write it on paper again. So I have actually lost count of how many I've written.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
What inspires you to write poems?
Poems, like I earlier said that most of my memories are drive me to write poems, but sometimes I even get a few scenarios like situations with my friends or situations I see just around me. Those also drive me to write poems sometimes. Mostly it's my memories, the moments that I spend with people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Can we have Shanaya now? Shanaya Gupta, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Since when have you been writing poems?
Ma'am, I've been writing poems since I was 10. And yeah, I loved writing poems. I used to, like read on my literature books, my school books. I'd like continuously read it, and I would like it so much. So yeah, that's when I started writing poems, and I just got a hobby, passion about it.
Who is your favorite poet as of now?
Sorry, ma'am?
Who is your favorite poet or poetess as of now? You have read many poems till now, so who's your favorite poet?
Ma'am, sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm saying, who is your favorite poet? Am I audible?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, 1 second. Ma'am, can you repeat?
I said, when people are still skeptical, can you listen to me?
Yes, ma'am, a little bit, but your voice is cracking like.
I
Okay,
said,
let
when
me
you
jump
We
in.
all
talking
can.
Shanaya,
about
do you hear me? This is Rupa here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Good. I'm just jumping in, Gargi, because she's unable to hear you. I hope that's okay for you.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So, Dr. Gargi was trying to ask a question, I think, about who is your favorite poet or who do you read or something
Yes, ma'am.
like
I
that.
answered that. Yes, ma'am.
So, do you want to mention the poets or the authors that you kind of turn to or enjoy a lot, or what have you been reading?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I want her to answer that. Who is your favorite author or poet? Call it whatever you want.
Actually, not to be precise with the literature books, I actually read when I open social media or Google only. I love like reading poems in my in Google also. So William Shakespeare, I know that you all have read his poems. His poem is like a tangled poem. It is not able to like you can't understand it easily, but it has a mixed emotions. It has mixed emotions like I don't know. I can't understand many of his poems, but I feel that connection of happiness of that love that comes from his poem. So I just love his poems. The connection
Shanaya,
that I love it.
you are amazing. We are still struggling to understand Shakespeare today. And you have a connection with him. The bard is so happy. Oh my God, the bard from Avon, he's actually celebrating it that a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old finds a connection with him. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I got inspiration from him only to write love poetry. I am writing love poetries about relationships, about love, and I love writing it. I got
So what do
inspiration
you
from
think
him.
is love? What does a 12, 13-year-old think is love? I want to know from you.
Ma'am, basically, love is not all about relationship only. It's about friendship. It's about the relationship between our parents, between like emotions that derive from that many things, not only relationships. So I write about everything, and I know I have to learn more about it, and I would love to learn more about it. That's my
You
point
are
of view.
doing great. You will do great going forward as well. And I think Sneha is a great mentor, sculpting each one of you unsculpted clays to form into beautiful structures. So God bless you, Shanaya. Gargi, over to you. I'm sorry for jumping in. She could not hear you.
No, ma'am. It's okay. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Shanaya, I was just
Sorry,
saying,
ma'am, I could not hear you.
can you listen to me now?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you now.
Okay, what I'm saying is people are still skeptical about menstruation. So how did you have the courage to write it down?
Ma'am, menstruation it is like a natural part of life. Yet the society still treats this as a taboo topic. And according to me, silence only leads to more struggles for both girls and for women. And according to me, if we can openly talk about love, animals, nature, then why not something as natural as periods, menstruation? I wrote this because I believe that poetry has the power to make people feel different and think different. So,
Kudos. Kudos.
thank you so much, ma'am.
Do you think poetry will be able to change the world?
Ma'am, poetry has it.
poetry for me has always been a way to communicate, to connect with people. Like it contains words that cannot be said out loud. So it connects people through words that like people cannot express. And for me, poetry has always been a way to express emotions through words. So I hope someone or the other day the world changes, people think different, feel different, and as I said, that I believe that poetry has the power to make people feel and think different. So yeah, that's my point.
That's wonderful. And you're rocking. All of you are rocking is just because of Sneha ma'am. She's doing a wonderful job teaching you, mentoring you, guiding you in the right path. Kudos and congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sneha ma'am.
They all were able to write the poems. I don't think it's because of me. I think because they already had it in them. And I am lucky enough that they crossed path with me. And now I would like to thank you all. I would thank Ms. Roopali Sircar Gaur for being here today, taking out time, her precious time, and being here and appreciating all the poets. Padma ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and encouraging these children. They surely learned a lot from you. Miss Rupa Rao, thank you. Thank you so much for being present here today. And though I sent you the poetry just a day before, but you took out time to read it, and then with your quotes, you have encouraged these children.
Sneha, it
Prasanna,
is
thank
not only my pride and honor to be part of your
I
panel.
think,
I want you to know
if
I
I may say
admire what you
something,
have done.
Sneha, you have the flame is already inside them, the fire is inside them. You have stoked it. Like all teachers, we've just stoked the fire. So could we hear some of these fiery poems? You know, if each one of them could quickly read one short poem of theirs, then we would know what they're writing about.
That would be
Sure,
nice.
ma'am. Sure.
So you can tell us with whom we're going to start. You can do that.
Nandini, you start first. You read one of your poems.
Thank you for letting me read the poem. I want to read one of my poem, What Will Others Say? What will others say? Will they say I'm wearing something inappropriate or I'm too tall or short? What will others say? Why will others say? Who gave them the right to say? Let them say whatever. What will others say? Be carefree and do good. Others will keep saying. It's their job to say. What will others say? This question arises to every girl or a woman. Don't be afraid you are perfect. What will others say? It's their job to say. Don't think what will they say. Don't care what will they say. What will others say? This question above gulps down the inner self of every girl or woman. What will others say? Don't ask this to yourself. It breaks your perfect personality and confidence. What will others say? Don't ask this. You will bring glory to the land, to yourself. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Nandini, for reading.
Very nice.
Lakshita Mundra, now it's your turn to read your poem.
Ma'am, I would like to read my poem, You're Not Her. She's much more pretty. She's much more smart. Thinking about these things, you've been suppressing your heart. She's much more happy. She's much more kind. Thoughts like these cloud your mind. You've been fighting a war inside your head, till late night awake in your bed. You try to fight the feelings, they are swallowing you whole. You want to be like her, so the world would see you more. But in the end, you're not her. You're doing your part, and she's just doing hers. Thank you, ma'am.
Wonderful. It's great. Thank you, Lakshita. Shanaya, you can read your poem.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to read my poem which is titled Circle of Life. So here it goes. Sometimes we get lost. To find the light, we have to go through darkness. This is the part of life. Sometimes we face problems, but to give it a fight, First, be strong to handle it. This is the part of life. At times, we ignore the fact and suffocate inside. Just have the courage to speak up. This is the part of life. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. Without feeling these, what is the point of life? We are born here, and this is the place where we die. Yes, you guessed it right. This is the circle of life. Thank you.
This is a tribute to the title of the book, Sneha, Speaking Out. So the children, the young ladies are speaking out.
Yes, right. That's all. Rupali ma'am has given the title and the voice to these young girls. Shanaya, it was a profound poem. Lakshita, now it's your turn.
Yeah, so I would like to read a poem of mine, which is named A Love Beyond Words. So it is: In the darkest of nights, your love is my light. You are my moon, you are my sun. No words, no poems can capture what you have done. You are my strength through the toughest of times. You are the best lullaby at my bedtime. To every grain of food you left because of me, you've given me more than I could ever see. Your tears speak more than your words could ever. Each drop a testament, fading never. In this labyrinth of life, you are always my key, my lifeline. Today, my words fall short to report what you have done for all. You are the flight to my dreams because you are my dream. Thank you.
What a tribute to your mother. Excellent. Now, Pahael, your turn to read the poem.
So I would like to read the poem If I Were Mother Earth. If I were Mother Earth, would I not weep for the abuse I went through by my own children to whom I gave birth? All the hurt they caused, I know they knew. If I were the goddess of earth, would I not want the people to suffer? For the wounds are fresh and they still hurt, and it would take a long time to recover. If I were Mother Earth, would I not like to be cared for? I'd like for people to see my worth, since they should know that I won't last long. If I were Mother Earth, would I not want to be respected and loved? After providing everyone with a home and a hearth, I too would like to be loved. Thank you.
Placing yourself in place of Mother Earth and writing a poem, it's wonderful. Thank you, Pahael, for reading the poem. So now, Rupali ma'am, can I present the vote of thanks, like we can end the show?
Rupali,
Yeah,
Kumar, are you there?
yeah. Actually, I think, that when I heard them reading out their poem just now, which were very, very important to hear their voice. And I think, all of us should buy this book because it's like a Bible for me now, I was looking at the poem, and one of the poems in which I think it's Lakshita Jain's poem, which I mentioned in the foreword. I mentioned a few, but how do you evaluate a society or an individual? Is always nyaya is justice. A society or an individual or a community or a people, how much justice are we able to give or we believe in? And you have this poet here who says that in a country where the court runs on wealth, where one can buy justice, where one can buy justice. Imagine us, we have just forgotten, that the kind of injustice that is around us, which makes them so angry. I mean, if you asked, are you a rebellious poet? If poets do not speak up, then who will? Who will speak up? All the great things, the army marches on poetry. A national anthem is a poem. National anthems of all countries are poems. What is it that stirs our intellect and our heart is poetry? What is it that conveys fearlessly is poetry? And I think that, As adults who are here, when we say adults, we're all writing poetry and, we're churning out poetry and everything, it sometimes gets very unnerving. You have these fresh voices, these angry voices. If you can consider it angry. They're not angry, they're asking you because, it's an apology. For us, we must apologize to these young people that we have given them a world which is so useless. We have destroyed. You have a poem, one of the poets has written here, I can't just like that, but I remember the poem. And it says that the ocean is pleading, the earth is angry. The earth is wanting to rebel and revolt. So what have we given you? And recently there was this anthology that's come out on love because of Valentine's Day, and they said there has to be a love letter. And as Rupa says, now I don't know what love means. For me, it's a 4-lettered word, literally. It's nothing more than that. So I said, okay, let me write it to my son or a daughter or my husband. It didn't work out. Then I just recently had a grandchild. So it's this tiny little baby, just 4 months old. So I wrote the love letter to her. And it's a letter of apology. I found when the whole process of writing, I realized that, and you young people know the process of writing, very interesting. You begin with something and you begin to say something else. I really ended up apologizing to my grandchild for the world that I have given her.
Are you able to recite that for us?
I don't have it handy, I think, right now. I don't know. But it's today, it's their day. But what I'm saying is that these young people, I wouldn't call them children. They are, they are the world. We are the world. We are the people. They are the world. They are the people. We have to apologize to them because now they're asking us. They're asking us, what have you done? What have you done for us? Where you buy justice. How do you call it so civilized? Just by, dressing up or wearing some makeup or, wearing a hat, Prasanna? We don't become civilized. I've used this lipstick. It's the mind that is asking that question. And from that question will come the answer. From that answer will come the solution. There will be an action. And one day you'll see, I won't survive that long to see this action, but I do really believe from my heart after reading their poetry. And Sneha, you've really stoked the flame. The flame is already in them. You stoked it like all teachers do, and not all teachers, I'm sorry. All teachers don't. You have your own child here, but you've gone beyond, when you say matritva, when you go beyond biological motherhood, you have your own child, you could have brought up that kid to write very good poetry, but you went out to other children. You reached out. You're truly a mother. I really want to say that from my heart today, that, in our cultural story, it's Krishna's adoptive mother who's known, not a biological mother.
Yeah.
And you've gone beyond that, and you've done something very wonderful. And keep writing. And I would actually want them, Prasanna, maybe they're having exams, isn't it, Sneha? They're in the midst of the exam, but the next time, the Sunday, they must come and read their poems on, on Fertile Brain.
Yeah.
And Rupa, you too.
Absolutely. I always wanted to be part of this. It just happened that there was a confusion.
So what
But
can
I'm
I say?
delighted, honored that I'm here today with all of you. And in fact, I want to just take 30 seconds and say this. Sneha, the title that you worked out with Roopali, Dr. Roopali, is outstanding. And the 5 youngsters you have worked with, kudos, hats off to each one of you. And I want to say Lakshita Jain, Lakshita Mundra, Nandini, Pahael, Shanaya, keep on writing, do not stop. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Ma'am, this book is available on Amazon? Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
This
sir.
book is
Yes, sir.
available on Amazon?
Yes, sir. It's available on Amazon.
Oh, okay, I'll find out.
Yes, sir.
I'll find out.
So you can send me
Very
your
well said,
address.
Roopali, ma'am.
You can send me your address. I'll send you a
Yes,
copy.
No, I'll buy it. I want to buy it actually. I don't want to
Oh, that's an
have
honor,
a free
sir.
copy. I'll buy it. Rupali ma'am well said. We are answerable to the children. We destroyed this society and the world. We are answerable to them.
Yes.
They are very bold. Children, your poetry will not only change the world, it will change you as well. It will improve your personality, I can tell you. And also there are a lot of journals which will accept your poems. Keep sending them. Not only publishing your own books, you keep sending them. I can tell you only haiku alone, there are 25 to 30 international very good journals are there. So similarly, I think free works also I'm not very familiar, but there are a lot of journals. Keep sending to them, and certainly your poetry will change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Each one of you keep writing, keep the light of knowledge, keep it ignited. Kudos to all of you and hats off to you, Sneha ma'am, and to all the writers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gargi ma'am, and thank you, Rupali ma'am, thank you, Rupa ma'am, Padma ma'am,
Thank you.
Prasanna,
For
Srinivas
inviting me.
sir, and all the 5 young writers for being present here today, taking out time and encouraging these children to write more and more poems. And this really means a lot for them, and I think it's going to ignite their passion to write poetry and take it up seriously from now on. I think this one event will change this for them, I know.
And I would like to thank them for showing us the way. Thank you so much, children, if you can be called for, thank you for showing us the way, for guiding us and lighting our path, I'm so touched.
Yeah, we do learn a lot from you, dear children. We learn a lot from you. Definitely. Keep writing. All the best to you. Thank you so much, Prasanna and Neha, for inviting me.
Thank you, Padma ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you to everyone present here for hearing us out, for giving us your precious time. I would really like to thank Sneha ma'am for guiding us through writing this project.
Most welcome, Lakshita. You are my star.
I don't know whether
You all are my stars.
You people have these autograph books, we'd ask somebody to write something in it. I gave it to my father when I was 12 or 13, and he wrote in it something that today I would like to pass on to you. He said, do what thy girlhood bids thee do, from none other but self-seek applause. From none other but self-seek applause. She liveth best who liveth her life according to her laws. So you do that, live your life, and don't wait for somebody said, no, what should we say? Why should somebody say this or say that? No, you say to yourself, from only self seek applause. So I think we could, conclude with that for you, that from only self seek applause, nobody else.
Thank you, Rupali ma'am. This is part of Porridge and I also. I have read this there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, indeed.
And Prasanna, thank you for all the wonderful forum you've created. And I was very keen that we launch this book, as soon as we can.
Yeah, just within 2 days of thinking, I guess.
Yeah.
Well done, Roopali, Kumar, Prasanna, and Sneha on putting this together so beautifully. And Gargi, Padma, Srinivas, awesome job, everyone, and especially all the young ladies. Congratulations again.
Congratulations once again to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.